Hey, it's Monty. We are doing 101X Backstage here at ACL Fest Week 2, and I'm happy to have one of my favorite bands on Chillville, Marian Hill. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Samantha and
Jeremy.
Thank you so much. And I was just telling y'all that y'all were the first band to follow my show page, and I was really excited about that.
That's so cool.
I play y'all all the time.
Proud to hear it.
And we were talking about it. It's so hot here. I mean,
it's so hot. Oh my gosh.
But
it makes sense. We've performed in Austin heat before.
Yeah, we know what to expect.
Yeah.
So I got an interview last week, Mountain Joy,
cool.
And they're from Philly. You guys are from Philly as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And just like I did with them, are y'all Eagles fans?
Yes.
Okay, well, we're going to have to cut this off a little bit early.
Hey, we waited a long time for that.
I know. I'm a Cowboy fan, and I hate the Eagles.
No.
Yes.
Oh, God.
You're in pretty much
that's
Cowboy
how
country.
it goes.
Yeah.
It's a great rivalry, though. You know?
But this year's been kind of weird, though. I mean,
I know we've had a rough start.
I know we did have a rough start.
Yeah, somewhat, but yeah, I was like, you guys deserved it.
Yeah.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. I mean, yeah, you have to. You know.
Did y'all go to any of those celebrations down there?
No, but we watched the game together in New York.
That had been pretty exciting.
That was so exciting.
I mean, they went nuts down there.
Oh yeah,
they did.
We definitely had friends there.
Crisco can't hold them down, you know.
I heard that stadium is like. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
I heard that stadium is. If you go in there wearing a cowboy uniform in that stadium, you're asking for it.
Yeah.
They're certainly passionate. I would say, passionate fans.
Just like in Silver Linings Playbook or whatever.
Yeah,
right.
Very much so.
All right, well, we'll get back to the music. So
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, love it.
Had to go over the football tangent.
We can talk football.
But the new album came out this year, Unusual, and I'm a big fan of it.
Thank
Been playing
you.
a lot of the tracks off it.
Thanks.
And how was that different from the very first one, from the first album that came out? The whole process and just creating.
I mean, I think the biggest difference is probably that with Act 1, we had so much to prove. We had to establish ourselves. We'd done an EP, but we'd never even done an album, and we were like, what is Marian Hill? We've got to show everybody what we are and what we can do. And with Unusual, we were just like, what kind of album do we want to make right now? Mm-hmm. What feels good? It started taking shape, and yeah,
there's a little bit more vulnerability on Unusual as well. And I think we pushed ourselves sonically just a little bit. I think one of the hardest things that I feel like is a very underestimated challenge is trying to develop your sound and trying to push yourself without straying too far from what people expect from you and have grown to love you for. So I would say that was maybe a little bit of a challenge too, and is always a challenge going from project to project.
But it's a fun challenge because if we make the same stuff all the time, we get bored too. So.
Was there any nerves involved thinking that, we you have to set the expectation up really high in order to outdo the success of the first one?
Yeah,
there was a little bit, but we had, right around when the album was coming out, we had a great tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really, at least for me personally, helped me just feel good about what we've built and where we are, and kind of relax my expectations and just know that we're here and it's good.
And I think Jeremy and I learned pretty early on that if you try to outdo your past work or your best song to date, you run into trouble. And I think it sets up these unrealistic expectations, and you just want to grow, rather than outdo or surpass.
Absolutely. And so with the huge success of the song Down, I mean, especially with Apple coming on board with the commercial, how did that all come about for y'all?
We've been on Apple's radar for a while.
For a long time.
We were I think even right maybe a little bit before we signed, we got our first email contact with what's his name, the guy at Apple who does a lot of their ads and music stuff. And we they were looking at Lips for a minute for something years ago, and we were like, oh my God, this is gonna be amazing. That it didn't happen, and so then when this happened, we were I was just very much all right, we'll see.
When was it that you two both realized that this is something that y'all could, actually take off with? I mean, when was the moment years ago where y'all
Marian
created
Hill
something? Marian Hill, where y'all created something and you're like, this is something that
that we should actually do.
Yeah.
We got really lucky again. I think it was from the first song. We made Whiskey together, and Jeremy emailed a bunch of blogs, and it got traction pretty early on. And then we got emails from booking agents and record labels asking, when are you playing a show? When's can we hear more material? And we'd only had one song, and we realized.
But like that was the
intention,
intention, basically. I think we were in a really lucky time that is now kind of past.
Yeah.
But where, if you did the research and knew the blogs to email, you could really get yourself on the music industry radar, or like test a song basically and see if it had what it took. So we were really fortunate in that, like, we did that with Whiskey, and it was just very clear that there's a demand for more. So we were like, all right, like now, like we're motivated, we know that this worked, let's like build this out.
That's great. So when there's a lot of electronic and programming in the music, how do y'all bring that to a live show? I mean, how do you know if you want to do it just like the way it was recorded, the CD, or if you want to kind of change it up, when y'all decide to do that?
When I set up the songs to play live, I'm always trying to play as much as I can. And the ideal way I like to do it is every time like an element is introduced into the beat, I'm playing it, and then it starts looping in the background when it comes back if I've already played it. I'm pretty active with drum pads and keys, and another big thing we've done from the beginning is bring along our friend Steve Davitt, and he plays saxophone when we have songs with that, and that leads to a really cool live element to things. And also, the more we've played together, that's led to improvisational stuff, and some of our favorite moments in the show now have come out of just spontaneous jams that have happened at various shows along the way.
So one of the things that I think is really interesting about your sound is you have a lot of deep bass and heavy beats mixed with your voice, the vocals. It's just a nice combination that goes into it. And matter of fact, one of the questions I had is the very sort of subtle thing. There's like a bass noise. It sounds like it's somebody saying something, but it's just been.
It is.
What is it?
It's her. It's a vocal.
Really?
It's actually.
Oh my God.
It's from "Bout You." It's literally just you. Like that's what it sounds like at normal speed.
That's really cool. I would never thought.
I had it on a keyboard because in "Bout You" there's a part that's like you.
Yeah.
And then I just for fun played it low. And it was crazy. It's actually during a show, and I started playing
that is so cool.
and Sam loved it, and
because every time I played, the song starts off with that, and I love the way it starts. And I was like, they got to be saying something.
Yeah,
and I would have thought it was your voice. I would have never thought
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You take it down far enough, it gets really crazy.
Cool. So one of the other things I admire about you is the remixes y'all have done. And
thank you.
One of the remixes that I'm really fond of is for a new artist that all the kids are going crazy for, Billie Eilish, doing the Bellyache remix. This is really cool because I was able to use that in some of my mixes, when I do that. It's a great one. How did the mixes come about?
That one specifically? That one was actually, I think I reached out about it right when they put Bellyache out, because we'd been fans of Billie, and we also they were fans of us, growing up before they were getting into it.
Just to clarify, I don't touch the remixes. I'm always a fan, but I have nothing to do with them.
But Bellyache was one of those special remixes where I just heard the song, loved it, immediately knew what I wanted to do with it, and reached out, and they were like, "Oh my God, yes, please!" And it just worked out really well that way. It was an easy and really fun one to do.
I know how to get you involved in the remixes. Okay,
yeah,
so some of the remixes there's a Weekend remix of Lord's Royals. There's Blood Orange remix of Sia's Chandelier. And what they do is they actually put their own vocals into it, so it kind of sounds like a duet. So
that's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's an option.
There you go.
I like that. We'll have to do that.
You heard it here first.
I love that. Thank you.
So when you guys are writing together, how does that process for y'all? Is it a simple thing where everything just flows, or is one part the electronics put down first, then the lyrics? How does that go?
Usually, Jeremy will come up with some part of the beat.
I'll have a lot of rudimentary ideas that I play for her, and the first step in the process, aside from me just making stuff, the next step is Sam coming in and picking her favorite.
And we actually, for the first time, I think I had come in with a little melody idea, but that's pretty rare. We still, for the most part, either work in the room together or Jeremy will have some sort of idea.
I think, at least for me, it's way easier to get inspired by just trying new things musically and seeing what emotions that they inspire than it is to think what emotions and ideas do I need to convey in a song right now. It's much easier for me to get stuck on that line. But yeah, then once we have a beat, it becomes I'm adding to it as the song takes shape. we're singing ideas back and forth to each other, constructing a verse, figuring out the lyrics, and then we track it.
Where, for the most part, where are the lyrics coming from? Past experiences or just...
Yeah. I think they come from our experiences. They come from friends. We really draw from multiple sources. They're rarely, if at all, autobiographical. They're
It's
parts,
usually
but
tangential.
yeah.
Like if it's autobiographical.
Inspired by.
Like the idea of a song might even come from something one of us has experienced, but then like once we're writing it, we're thinking about writing the best song we can to convey the idea of it. Like, and we figure out like what exactly the song's saying, how it's unique, and then just like make sure that we deliver that idea.